fucking money. I don't even have money in my wallet. Yes, I do. I have $7 because you took all this and you fucking pocketed it. This is the only fucking shit you people care about.
Well, now I guess you know why they call him Angry Joe. Because he's one perturbed Pedro. He's a little bit of a ass-blasted Alejandro. A little bit angry. A little bit hot under the collar. Guess that's where he gets that nickname from. You know, one thing I've noticed as I've done this retrospective look at this particular website and the content creators that are associated with it, is that each person that watches it seems to have their own motivation, their own reasoning for wanting to take a look back. For some people, that is a nostalgia trip. They used to watch these shows. They remember the personalities. It's a chance for them to go, hey, I remember that. I remember when I used to watch this stuff every single day, when I used to go to that website every single day, but goddamn has it been years since I've done that. For other people, it's more of a carnival sideshow attraction. They get to sit down for 15 to 20 minutes and hear a nice summation of individuals that were associated with the website and events that took place in their life. But I think one common thread that each of these videos happens to share with one another is that they are cautionary tales. They are cautionary tales for what to look out for if you want to be a content creator on the internet. Each of them serves to show and illustrate the pitfalls and the mistakes that you can make, what you should look to avoid as you navigate your way around this particular area of the internet. In Doug's case, it's a creator who wanted to escape his own creation, who wanted to branch out and do new things, and in order to do that, felt it necessary to disassociate himself with the thing that the fans loved the most, the price he paid for it, and his inevitable return to having to do it. In the case of Noah, it's a content creator who was on top of the world, making thousands and thousands of dollars with a very large fan base, all looking forward to his next creation. But due to his own arrogance, his own hubris, and his own mistreatment of his audience, he saw his popularity and his profits begin to sink. It's a man who shot himself in the foot through his mistreatment of those that adored him the most. And in Lewis's case, if Lewis has a cautionary tale within his video, it should be that you never, ever, ever create a username for a porn website, because that will come back to haunt you one day. The last thing you want as you cross that 1 million subscriber threshold is for information to come out that you really, really, really want to fuck the shit out of that green M&M. But these mistakes, they've been in the past. These are things that happened years ago. And as we move into this 4th episode with Joe Vargas, with Angry Joe, my intention was to, again, offer a retrospective look at his journey from an unknown individual to somebody who has nearly 3 million subs. A person who's put out video after video for nearly a decade, all because he has a passion for a hobby. And the hard work that he put into those videos that he put out, his angry reviews, and how that attracted an audience. Now, Joe has had his moments on the internet like almost anybody else, and in fact, one of those moments was at the very beginning of this video. And peppered throughout the original intent of this particular episode were going to be highlights of that. But due to recent events that have transpired in the last 2 weeks, I've decided to shift focus a little bit in trying to keep with that idea of cautionary tales for things that you should seek to avoid. I feel it best, rather than to do a purely retrospective look at Angry Joe, to instead take a look at the current events surrounding him.
He did his research. He was prepped.
He was ready for me.
Now, Joe's problems began about 2 weeks ago when he uploaded a video announcing an unexpected 2-month vacation. Throughout the course of his update vlog, he explains to his audience that he needs to take a break. He had been taking a minor break from his content production over the course of the past week, and he was seeking to extend it through July and August all the way until September. Now, he wasn't taking a break entirely from the content he produces. No, instead he was going to be taking a break from what he described as the most intensive of the videos he makes, his angry reviews. He goes on to explain that he's not burnt out, that he doesn't dislike making them, but just that he had been producing content consistently for 9 years without really ever taking time off. And then now that he had had a bit of a taste of it, he wanted to actually have a real vacation. Now, from the get-go, there were groups of people that were already upset with this particular announcement. Some people were upset because Angry Joe had posted a schedule promising a certain amount of angry reviews per month. And they were already claiming he was falling through on that promise before this video ever went up. So there they are, already dissatisfied, already upset about the perceived lack of content that was coming from Joe, content that he himself had promised to deliver. And then on top of that, he releases this video announcing that he isn't going to be producing any of it for another 2 months. There was also a large amount of subscribers to his channel who were there merely to watch the angry reviews. That's what they came to watch. That's what they liked the most. They didn't watch his other content. They just wanted the angry reviews. So Joe got some pushback right away from the video. But it wouldn't be until a few days later that things really begin to go tits up for Joe when he uploads another video.
Joe in the north, the 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 Joe in the north.
Game of Thrones! Let's do this!
Now, people were already upset with the fact that he was telling them he was taking a break from the content that they liked the most. But now here a few days later, he's uploading other content that's an hour in length, that's not related to angry video game reviews at all. And the comments and the ratings immediately began to reflect the dislike people had for the fact that he was uploading this as opposed to the reviews that they came to the channel to watch. And it would be Joe's reaction to this that really marks the beginning of the shit show proper, because Joe didn't like the reaction he got from his own audience. He didn't like the fact that they were telling him not only were they upset with what they perceived as laziness on his part, but with the content he seemed to enjoy outside of angry reviews. So Joe did what most people in this day and age do. He went to social media to bitch. This situation sucks. I can't make content I want except for one thing. If I started a new channel, haters would just follow me there. I think the only option for me at this point is to either stop the show entirely or disable comments and ratings and do what makes me happy. I gave them 9 years of free content, more than 1,135 videos, and I can't get any love on my own channel to produce additional content I want. I'm taking back my channel. I will fight you on the side of the street for it. I've decided to disable all comments and ratings on all videos for the next month. I want to see what it does to the viewership and engagement. Joe then went even further by screen capping conversations he was having in the comment section with people that were posting on these videos to highlight what he saw as an attack against his content and against himself. From Greenhouse: enjoy your vacation, Joe. You just lost another subscriber. No one cares. If you can't respect someone who's given you 9 years of free content and 1,100 videos without a break to share his opinion on one of his favorite shows, then fuck the hell off, you little shit. God damn this attitude on YouTube. Some of y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Fuck. So he got the time to do an hour-long review of a TV show, but can't do a 20-minute game review. This shows the basic mentality of your below-average YouTube commenter. They think the 20-minute game review equals 20 minutes of work. How anyone finishes a single game in 20 minutes is beyond me, versus a 1-hour review of a TV show in which we sit in place and discuss something unedited. If you ever wanted to know why my YouTube comments are sometimes filled with stupid shit, this is the reason. And Joe, true to his word, disabled ratings and comments on his videos, which were already at that time being bombarded by downvotes and comments really calling him out. They didn't like that he was going to Twitter to bitch about it. They didn't like that he wasn't producing the content he had promised he would produce. They didn't like that he was seemingly attacking them for saying that they weren't interested in him reviewing television shows or movies, that they wanted game reviews from Joe. This, of course, began a cycle which is commonplace on the internet. When a content creator begins to attack their own audience, people began to shit-talk him on social media. They began to make threads on forums and image boards, all talking about what the hell was Joe's problem. Why was he being a giant pussy and having to disable ratings and comments? Why couldn't he take the criticism that they wanted to give him? Now, fast forward 2 weeks to just a few days ago. Joe releases another video, this one much longer than his vacation announcement, in which he takes the time to really go over what his thought process was and to address a lot of the criticisms that were leveled against him. And when you look at the metrics, when you look at the ratings between the first video he put up, the vacation one, and this video, you'll see a clear difference. And that difference has to do with how he addressed the situation. And so I'd like to take a look at what Joe had to say and the reaction that he got in relation to this entire event unfolding. From his initial announcement, to the pushback, to his reaction to that pushback, till his final update video explaining himself and his side of the story to his audience. Because I think within all of this, within this entire situation, it really helps to serve as a cautionary tale. Just like those first 3 episodes, this will help you to know what to avoid in the future.
Like the first thing they did, they were like, okay, here's XCOM, it's got aliens, and it's like, it's so XCOM.
Joe's cardinal sin when it comes to this entire situation was his inability to interface with his own audience and to communicate with them exactly what was going on and what the motivation and reasons behind it were. Simply taking a look at his videos before he shut down the ratings and the comment section, and you can see people were pissed. They were extraordinarily angry at Joe. It got to the point where gaming news outlets were talking about it because everybody was watching this situation unfold in real time. And as it escalated over the course of weeks, Joe ended up adding fuel to the fire through his tweeting and his social media outrage at the reaction he was receiving. It created a negative feedback loop. Somebody would say something he didn't like, he'd respond to it, and it would encourage other people to say something as well. Worse yet, he disabled the comments, the main means of his audience actually talking to him. All this ended up doing was fueling their anger and making them seek outlets elsewhere, which ended up bringing in newer people who were now aware of the situation and wanted to try to egg it on. Now, Joe took the wrong approach when addressing criticism. Rather than addressing the individual critic, he used a broad brush approach. He used a shotgun approach. And 2 of the ways that he did this was by addressing viewers as entitled and calling them trolls. This basically is brushing away any criticism that a third party might have or just an innocent bystander. It creates the idea that if you have any complaint about what Joe is doing, that you're just an asshole, that you couldn't possibly critique him or have a problem with what he's doing without falling into these different categories. And again, with comments disabled, you have no way of voicing that opinion. It's just going to piss you off. What he failed to realize is that his viewership, his subscriber base, had come to rely on the consistent upload schedule that he himself helped to establish, along with his promise of doing at least 2 angry reviews per month. So he had a previous statement saying, I'm going to do this set amount, and he had a previous work ethic showing that he would do that amount. But as this year went on, he started to fall away from that. And then he announces he's not going to be doing any of this content, and of course people are going to be upset. But rather than addressing how upset they are and why they're upset and explaining his rationale behind it, he simply refers to them as entitled, as a group of haters that exist on the internet. Now, this is the worst possible thing you could do, because what it's going to do is it's going to take people that aren't actually there to fuck with you, the actual legitimate trolls who really don't care about the situation one way or another, they're just there for a laugh. But it's going to take those people that aren't in that group, and it's going to make them want to join in. Because now you've already brushed them aside. You've said, you're a troll, you're an entitled asshole. I don't care what you think. In fact, I care so little about what you think, I'm going to take away your ability to explain to me why you're upset. Even within his explanation video, and in some of the comments that he chose to highlight on social media and some of the comments he chose to respond to, he seemed to be blown away by the fact that people couldn't understand that his videos, the angry reviews, took a lot of effort in editing, that it was far more than a 20-minute procedure, that he didn't just sit in front of a camera, record it, and then hit a button to upload it immediately after he was done. What he fails to take into consideration is the fact that nowadays most people are used to YouTube being dominated by vloggers of some variety. They're used to the 13-year-old girl sitting in front of her camera and saying, like, totally, oh my god, and then immediately uploading that pile of shit to the internet. Obviously, it's going to take effort to produce a video that has effects in it, that has a green screen, that has a script. It's going to take work. But again, rather than explaining that at the outset, he simply tells people they're fucking retarded for not understanding that videos take effort to make. He's once again assuming that anybody that has a critique of him is part of this hater group, this cabal of individuals that are just looking to fuck with him. Now, make no mistake, groups of individuals like that exist. They exist for any channel that's out there. But Joe let their opinion color the discussion. He let their opinion be transposed onto every opinion that he was seeing. And rather than take a small amount of time to just say, hey, listen, when I make one of these videos, here's my work process. This is what goes into the creation of a video. I've got to do the script. I've got to get the costumes and source them. I've got to film myself and the people that are in the video as well. I've got to put it into an editing suite. I've got to add the After Effects. I've got to do all of this. Then I've got to edit the audio and I've got to sync everything up. And then I have to do a couple of different quality checks to make sure that it's good at the end of the day. It's far more than a 20-minute process. See, it took me less than a minute to explain that. But Joe didn't even try in the beginning. Now, like I had said earlier, when you look at the metrics between that first video and that second video, there's a noticeable difference. And that really comes down to approach. Because in the second video, Joe actually sits down and explains what the hell is going on and why he feels he needs a vacation. Nowhere in his screed against people online on his social media accounts, nowhere in the original video, did he ever explain his workload or the amount of content he produced. He just, again, assumed that the audience watching already knew that. And that is a massive mistake if you're a content creator online. You cannot assume that the audience watching what you produced has any idea about your personal life, about your work ethic, or about anything you've done up until that moment. You may have posted the most detailed message that ever existed on Facebook. You may have put up a walkthrough behind your thought process on Twitter, but how are they going to find that? You're assuming that they follow you regularly. You're assuming that these people hang on your every word, when more than likely they don't. They simply show up to your channel to watch the content you're putting out. So unless you include that explanation within the content itself, they're going to have no idea about the abrupt change in behavior that they're confronted with. When looking at this entire situation as it's unfolded over these past 2 weeks, the takeaway lesson is, don't make your audience your enemy. Don't create animosity with your viewership. And this is exactly what Joe ended up doing. He took what was a fan base and he alienated a good portion of them. He did so in the way that he addressed them. Rather than helping them to come to an understanding from his perspective, he lashed out at them. He attacked them. He grouped them together and dismissed their opinions, and then he took away the mechanism through which they'd usually address him back. But by taking away the ability for the community to interact with the creator, all Joe ended up doing was creating hundreds and thousands of brand new enraged Enriques that wanted to know when his transformation into Donut Drake would be complete. So learn from Joe's mistakes. Interact with your audience. Don't try to cut them off, don't alienate them, and make them hate you for no reason. If you need to address them as a whole, do it through the means that you would normally put your content out. That way you're sure everybody understands exactly what's happening. And grow a thicker fucking skin. People are going to shit talk you on the internet. You need to learn to cope with it, and to tune it out if it really bothers you. But punishing everybody because a few people pissed you off is just going to make more people angry at you. And that is the last thing that you want to do. Well, goddamn, that finale is going to be a fucking telenovela at the rate we're going. Originally I had an idea of what I wanted to do with Joe's video. And it really was a retrospective look with about 3 or 4 key moments of him doing stupid shit and stupid shit associated with him. I'm sure you can think of a few of them. There's one in particular he really got a lot of heat over. But I couldn't overlook this. As I was working on the video, it just kept going on and on and on and on. And Joe kept doing the wrong fucking thing at every turn. To the point where he had to put up another video explaining it, and fucking people are writing articles about it. And it seems like common fucking sense. Don't piss off the people that watch your shit. That doesn't mean you have to kiss their ass, and it doesn't mean that you owe them anything. But just talk to them like you would a normal fucking person, rather than acting like everybody that says something you don't like is out to secretly troll you, because you're going to end up like DSP at that rate. It's going to make you paranoid and fuck with your head. So yeah, I'm going to take the excised portion, the original idea I had for this. I'm going to take the really juicy bits and put it into the finale itself and kind of, integrate it with everything that's going to be in there. So it's going to be an obnoxiously long episode. Thanks once again to everybody supporting me on Patreon. Speaking of patrons, there's one person I wanted to shout out. Somebody had mentioned that they weren't on the list at the end of the video. And I went through and I looked, and sure enough, they weren't. And that's my fuck up. I'm not sure how I overlooked it, but NTTE, I'm sorry. I overlooked your name. I told you I'd give you a shout out specifically to make up for that. And I'm gonna redo these ending credits. I need to update them, and they're a little hard to read. So I want to try to make it a little bit more readable. Take the time to try to make it look a little fancier. Next up, we have the man on the outside looking in. There'll be quite a bit of information. You could say lots of information in that video. That's one I've been looking forward to doing. Just because I think it's going to be funny. So with that, that's the end of it. The video's done. So with that, I'll let the music take you out.